We put these marks on our bodies to broadcast information. 3 dots, MCL, my crazy life, or La Vida Loca.
That's what it means.
Yeah, for a lot of people, yeah.
MCL. But they would, instead of a tear, it would be MCL on their cheek.
No, 3 dots. It's like a little triangle of 3 dots. You can put it on your right here next to your eye. You put some people put it on their hand right here. MCL, La Vida Loca, my crazy life.
I think a lot of people that haven't been to prison could put that on themselves.
Exactly. Right there you go. There you go. So profiling is a dangerous thing.
Swagger down the street with your red lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Pirate Soldier King. I'm your host, Grace Ann Bennett, with Gregory Roberts, liver of the life and teller of the story, Pirate Soldier King. And we are getting into it today because there's a lot going on in the news with that tattoos. But if you wouldn't be deported based on your tattoos, you don't have anything that's on the list of questionable tattoos.
Not that they can read.
But do you think that they got it right? I mean, do you think, like, what are your thoughts about the deportation and using that? I mean, they also talked about clothing too. I mean, is there it just like what do you think about
This way,
that
like,
approach? Like, how close could they get to like getting it right?
I think with tattoos they could get it easily right. I mean, every gang, the whites, the Mexicans, the Asian, Yakuza, like there's a code to the tattoos, and it's, if they got a couple people, they could figure it out. I'm sure they have people on it.
Mhm.
And, they're called patches. So you earn, I mean, there's certain gang affiliation tattoos, but there's others that are patches, like a swastika you can only get if you like stab a black person. If if you walk around prison with a swastika on and you haven't put in that work, if you haven't done it, you're gonna get hurt badly. So there's none of this like, oh, I think that looks cool, I'm gonna put it on me. Like that, you have that, it means you did something on
What
behalf
about
of
the?
the gang.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but what about the tear that comes out someone's eye?
And the
Have you
tear
seen
means
that?
you've been in prison.
What?
The tear means you've been in prison. You're crying because you miss your people, your family. You get
Okay.
a black tear, you're in prison. You've done time. You
Okay,
get
but you don't want.
3 dots, MCL, my crazy life, or La Vida Loca.
That's what it means.
Yeah, for a lot of people, yeah.
MCL. But they would, instead of a tear, it would be MCL on their cheek.
No, 3 dots. It's like a little triangle of 3 dots. You can put it on your right here next to your eye. Some people put it on their hand right here. I almost got it. It's like just MCL, La Vida Loca, my crazy life.
I think a lot of people that haven't been to prison could put that on themselves.
Exactly. Right there you go. There you go. So profiling is a dangerous thing.
Dangerous, right? So do people like Machine Gun Kelly or different types of people in the music industry, do they get gang tattoos but are not in a gang?
I hope not. Um, and I'd say there's a spectrum of gang tattoos and cultural tattoos. And one of the telltales of prison tattoos is that a lot of times they're unplanned. They're improvised. I mean, this was highly planned, but a lot of you just go in and you're like, hey, I trust you as an artist. Let's just do drugs and do tattoos on my whole arm. And there's kind of like a certain style to that with a lot of like skulls and demons and dark themes that you can kind of tell if you're an aficionado or if you've been around places. So I would guess that people like deeply ingrained in the hip hop culture or in the music culture would have enough respect that if they had any kind of gang related tattoos that they had put in some work or had relationships with those gangs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, maybe we'll have to do some digging, some sleuthing on that front.
No, I ain't
I think
digging.
this. I don't know. I might chat GPT that, just to see what's going on.
Yeah, I mean it's a
Gonna
fascinating education for sure.
I'll
Hey, to
probably,
your original question, Grace Ann,
yeah.
I do believe profiling is a worthwhile tool for anyone. We put these marks on our bodies to broadcast information.
Hmm.
Like I said, you're on the yard, you see people's tattoos from a distance, and that tells you information that you need to know, whether you steer wide around that person or whether you're going to go, hey, what's up? Like, how are you going to interact? If you're the same area code tattooed hugely on your back, you're from the same hood. You grew up there.
Right. Okay. So that's a whole other thing. Area codes. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. 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 I mean, I'm talking about, fonts that are like 18 inches high.
What?
310. Yeah.
Oh, so it's just area, like
Yeah. Wherever your hood is.
212, whatever.
That
Yeah.
means that's where I was raised up. That's where I came up in my crew, and that's what I represent.
So it's not a zip code, it's an area code.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I didn't see any zip codes.
But that might actually be better, a zip code.
Well, more specific, but it's easier to roll. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Lingo is like, yeah, you from the 415? What's up?
I think it'd be pretty funny to do like a 90210 on your back.
I'll leave that to you.
That's a whole t-shirt thing where we're like gang tattoos in like fancy neighborhoods. That could be
A thing.
the she. I think I need to make a t-shirt.
What do
I
you
think
call it?
that
Co-opting the culture? Or,
co-opting the culture, we just do like fancy neighborhoods, but like gang style. Anyway, Beverly Hills gangster style. Anyway, I don't know how well that would go over. Okay.
I'm sure you'd get take. I don't know if there'd be blowback.
Right. No, it's interesting. So, how about like people, but in terms of just the idea about being innocent, like profiling, okay, so that could be helpful, but does that still replace due process and being innocent before proven guilty in your mind?
No, it does not. And there's people who are dropouts. That's the term. It means you were raised in a gang, you pledged your affiliation to the gang, and you decided, often in prison, but sometimes on the streets, that that was an unhealthy lifestyle, and so you leave the gang. Often there's a price put on your head if you do that. So it's not a decision made lightly, but you still have those tattoos. And I mean,
Hmm.
there's actually like there's places in most major cities that do laser tattoo removal specifically for gang members for free.
Mm.
Because
Oh,
that's an
to help
accepted.
them like a nonprofit.
Yeah, yeah. They're like, you dropped out of the gang. Okay, like we're gonna do this for you. It's because that's a pretty expensive process for a normal person.
There's a famous comedian. I'm trying to figure out who that person is, but Saturday Night Live, he took off all his tattoos. He was famous for his tattoos, and then he took off all of his tattoos.
I told you about how to make the tattoo gun in a jail, but let's talk about prison.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
So prison is professional class. So in prison, you have like
Mm.
a library that you get access to maybe once, twice a month, and there happens to be some CD players in that library. Well, a CD player has a high precision controlled motor to spin the CD. CDs are ancient, but they have that. So you go in, you stick your fingers in there or like your knife and you pry out that motor and you have the motor to the CD player. Well, that's worth $200 on the yard easy. And, you, a skilled person, that rotary motion with like a rubber band and some pulleys and things can basically make a needle go at very high frequency. I mean, it's essentially a professional tattoo gun with a CD player motor. And then to power it, you take like 6 AA batteries and you wire them in series and you make a little box out of paper and tape. And I had a transient cellie who was going home. Thank God. He was a total drug addict. So he was out of the cell inside 2 days. So within 2 days, I had my very own cell, single man cell. That's like what everyone covets. And so what do? I was on lockdown, so I got 48 hours. I just cleaned it. You clean all the gunk of 50 years off the walls and, get the chemical. I just cleaned it. And I was really proud. I was like, I'm a clean motherfucker. Like, this cell's good. We had to do some moves. And so I actually moved in with AK. And then a guy named JD moved into the cell I was in. And the first time the doors popped, I was like, hey, so you got my cell, man. How'd you like the fucking cleanup job I did? And he's like, dude, that cell was filthy. He goes,
What?
I spent 3 days scrubbing the walls. I don't know what the hell you did. I was like, I spent 2 days scrubbing the walls and the floor. Come on. He's like, "Nah,
Wow.
not up to my standards." When I asked around on the yard, I was like, who's the best tattoo artist? Because I want to get some ink and I don't want some messy shit. I want the right guy. They're like, JD. I'm like, oh, this guy got my cell. Sure enough, when I got that tattoo done, his cell was so clean. It was like a brand new cell that had been built yesterday. I was like, this is cleaner than most tattoo studios I've been to in America. I was shocked. And he had the medical gloves, that they stolen from the prison hospital, and like the gun, and he was so good and so efficient. And this whole tattoo took like 40 minutes, and the ink's perfect. It stays, and that's homemade ink, you know, with a CD engine gun that would have taken, I think that tattoo would have taken 2 hours in a shop, on the street.
That's crazy.
That,
Okay.
yeah.
That is crazy. Okay, the person it's Pete Davidson. He dated Kim Kardashian, and he got rid of all of his tattoos, literally all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in 3 years he'll be tatted all back up again. That
no,
man.
he got rid of them all, and then what did he do? Yeah, it cost him $200,000 in tattoo removals.
Because he went to a bougie place.
Yeah, I don't know. Uh, yeah, and he's trying to go into the whole health and well being. It'd just be interesting to see like what's going on there. But he wanted a clean slate. So I guess it does make sense though, because when you have the ink, you're telling your story, you're telling people who you are, you're expressing yourself in a certain way, and you might want to just clean slate it, start fresh, because you could change.
That's an interesting, yeah. I mean, yeah. That's kind of the antithesis of why you get a tattoo in the first place. And when I got my first tattoo, there was no laser removal. That didn't exist.
So what's your first tattoo?
That one right there, it's a ram's head. That was the logo of my first company. We met dire straits. Like, we were on the verge of bankruptcy. I had to fire a lot of the staff, and I was just going to flee the country. I was like, I was like, my life is in wreck. I was in deep personal debt, and I kind of I actually swam in the ocean that night and made up my mind. I was like, I'm just gonna stick it out. And so I went to, I mean, back then it was stigma. So I went to like this weird little hole in the wall place with like a Hell's Angel guy with shirtless with a leather vest. He was kind of fat with a big beard. He's like, don't worry, I clean all my needles. I was
I
like,
hope so.
okay. And yeah, he did that, and that, I think, is the essence of a tattoo. Like, a tattoo is commitment. It's like,
Mhm.
this is something that, and because I went to the office next day, and they were like, "What'd you do?" I was like, "I got a tattoo. We're gonna make this happen." And they were like, "Oh my God, like, you're crazy." Forget. And now, with God, who's the guy? Not The Weekend, the guy.
Travis Barker.
I mean, facial tattoos are common. I mean, when Mike Tyson got his
Mhm.
facial tattoo, everyone was like, "He's crazy." Now, like, every other musical artist has tattoos on their face. The
Mhm.
Secretary of Defense has like full arms, like "We the People" here, and some interesting symbols on his shoulder and back, and yeah,
Okay, so it was about commitment when you did that tattoo.
yeah, yeah. All my tattoos, for 90% of them, are deeply personal. Yeah, like, I bet they're about people and relationships, and yeah. So
Mhm.
I would never remove them.
Right. Right. But I mean, this state of affairs with, just thinking about what's going on in the world that we live in and kind of going to that, do you think at least this administration is like hip to what's really going on? And so they're
I don't
kind of,
think no, no. I mean, maybe, yeah, maybe a little. Like I said, like, Trump was the very first person to mention MS-13, like, in his first election cycle. And I thought it was some made up thing, and I looked it up, and not even looking it up. I mean, looked it up. Yeah, it's a real gang, but I'm saying, in prison, they run the show. Like, you don't fuck with MS-13. Like, it's real. So I was like, well, I never heard that from any other, official or anything. And Trump threw it out there, and now they're looking at this Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua. And
Mhm.
again, yeah, that's a pretty serious international criminal organization. Yeah, I guess I do think he's hip to it.
Mhm.
And I think he's just giving perhaps excessive power to those who have that information. It's a pendulum. Maybe Biden was too weak and Trump's too strong.
Like an overcorrection. So, how much do those prison gangs actually rule from inside prison to these kind of global networks? Are they effective at reaching the outside?
Yeah, yeah. So there's street gangs and prison gangs, and they're not totally equal, but they have strong interfaces. Most of the people who are being most seriously punished in prison have been done so through something called the RICO Act, which is essentially gang affiliation. And that puts that ups your level of crime and ups your sentence and everything. So that's how they bust the large gangs. Yeah. So people doing major sentences in prison typically have deep gang connections, and those are respected inside the prison because if you put in the work on the streets, if you've done violence to rival gangs or protected territory or done missions, you're going to get respected for that on the inside. Like you'll be treated right.
Okay, so that's the soldier part of the pirate soldier king. Those are more the soldiers, or both
Most
pirates and
every gang
soldiers.
member is a soldier. It's a pyramid scheme. There's very, very few at the top. Those would be like the heads of the cartels and some certain like Black Hand for Mexican mafia, things like that.
Okay, interesting. So, like when you go back to like wrap it up when we're thinking about the news and what the New York Times and gets wrong and right, what are some of the things that our listening audience needs to know about what's like how the news media is getting this and what is really going on?
I would just basically say that's, I guess, my biggest beef with the reporting is that they're kind of saying, well, it's just a tattoo. That's not, and I'm like, no, it's not just a tattoo. Like there's reasons for this, and it's a real thing. I mean, you could do a cursory Google search or ChatGPT about tell me about the relationship between gangs and tattoos, and you'll get 10,000 pages. It's not so. Yes, innocent until proven guilty, and again, when this much evidence stacks up, you need to look at it objectively as possible.
Okay, if someone's out there thinking about the next tattoo they're going to get, do you have any advice of a good choice of tattoos?
Yeah, I'd say honor your family. That's Roberts right there. That's my last name. That's my family of 12 generations going back to Wales, England. Or I should say Wales to the west of England. And yeah, make it really personal. I would never get a tattoo of a girlfriend's name, and I would never get a tattoo of a sports team or something like that, or maybe a sports team. But I would say this personal and unique. Never use flash art. Get the artist to design something that is unique to you, because that's what it is. It's unique.
Okay, and are you available for tattoos for the listening audience? Maybe we could do some kind of contest and maybe the number of shares of the show or something that you could design them a tattoo. I think we should. I mean, I know I'm putting you on the spot right now, but you have done it. And that was one of the things that you did as gifts while you were in prison for people is that you would actually design a tattoo. So I say we're going to come up with something for the listening audience to get
I guess what
engaged.
we come up with whoever has
Okay.
the comment with the most likes on it on this show, I will do a tattoo design for you.
Okay, you heard it. You heard it here first, straight from Gregory Roberts, the tattoo artist, the go-to tattoo artist in prison. So he is going to design a tattoo for the person that has a comment with the most likes on this episode.
Got it.
All right, let's see who wins this coveted tattoo art from our very own
So be
Gregory.
sure to
Okay.
like and comment below and subscribe.
All right. Can't wait to see how this goes. Thank you for listening, and we'll come back with another titillating, exciting episode of Pirate Soldier King.
Splendiferous.
Until next time. There we go.
Swagger down the street with your red